Can you hear me now? I was just saying that I'm not in my comfort zone in the usual place, and that there might be some technical bugs, and then there was no audio. So there we go. Hopefully this is a bit better. This might not be like the best audio that we've ever had, but it's not bad. I'm actually using my Tascam microphone that I don't usually get to use. I'm here in my bedroom, not in the usual spot, so things are a little bit different, and that's not the only thing that's going to be different. Rather than opening cards today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a little bit of arts and crafts, as you probably read on the title and the thumbnail. What does that mean? Well, we're going to do something that usually we don't recommend, and that is more or less destroying cards. Now, when I say destroy, we're not just ripping them up or burning them or whatever. We're going to take cards that we love. I'm going to be using cards from Genesis Battle of Champions today because that's the one that I like. But I've got lots of cards and lots of doubles. And so tonight, we're going to be doing some arts and crafts with those cards and cutting them up and gluing them and all that sort of stuff. But this is not something we normally do here on the channel, so bear with me. We might have some technical problems. I'm sure there's stuff that I haven't sorted out here, because there's always something, right? So bear with me, and hopefully it's going to go great. Now, Joe and I have been sort of swapping Tuesdays here for a little while. Just coincidentally, it's summertime. People are busy. I've been taking some classes down in the city, so and I might do some more of that soon, but it's all for the greater good. And today Joe has some social commitments, so he might be in the chat. I'm pretty sure he is. It's charades. First word sounds like, oh yeah. Thanks. I always know everybody in the chat has got my back for audio issues. So, but before we get started with the whole thing, I just want to let everybody know that the channel is still going strong. I believe this is our 96th episode. So our 100th episode is coming up soon, and Joe and I have been having much discussion about what we're going to do to celebrate episode 100. If you have some ideas of things that you would like to do, for us to do rather, for our 100th episode, let us know in the chat or send us an email or something like that. hello@imperialpulls.com, and we always like to hear from you. Now, typically, again, at the beginning of most episodes, Joe and I will open a different craft beer and give it a gentle review. I am not really in the mood for drinking a beer alone tonight, so I'm going to have good old standby Diet Coke. Again, this is not an endorsement. I am merely an enthusiast. This is how I get my caffeine. I know all you guys drink coffee and you think I'm crazy for drinking Diet Coke in the morning, but whatever. Some people do cocaine, so it's not that bad. It always hits. I wonder why, like with food, you wouldn't want to eat the same thing every day. You'd get tired of it. And that's why we need variety in our diet. But when it comes to beverages, same thing every day, please. Some people drink coffee or tea. They drink the same thing, and it has to be exactly the same every day. But with food, it's like, no, we don't want that. And I don't know what it is about liquid that we like the same thing every day. All right, I think I've given people enough of a chance to log in here, and enough chance for me to screw something up so that I can fix it. Thank you for your help, everybody. What are we doing today? Well, we're going to be doing a little bit of a craft type that I think you would call decoupage. What is decoupage? Well, decoupage just means cutting things, gluing them together. You've probably, if you're into TCGs like we are, you may have seen on the internet people cutting up, for instance, Pokemon cards and then gluing them back together in different ways to make fun projects. And that's basically what we're doing. I'm not doing anything terribly original, except we're going to be doing it with Genesis cards. See, we've got our Raha there. I've done these earlier. This one got a little smooshed, but that's okay. This is my Jalarian Hound. I've got a bunch of others, but I don't want to like give up the give up the secrets here too early. But essentially, we're going to be taking some of my favorite Genesis cards, cutting them out and giving them a bit of a three-dimensional change. And that especially works for Genesis in the sense that, for example, if you use this sort of decoupage on a regular card, you can't really sleeve it and use it. You can display it. It's really fun. But if you're doing a champion, it doesn't need to be sleeved. You could even roll up and use your decoupage champion in your LGS with your friends at a tournament. Imagine rolling up with something like that. So it's pretty simple. We're going to do a little bit here, and you can follow along. Maybe you could try your hand. I'm sure people have a lot of really creative ideas for how to do this. So we're just going to do something plain or well, not plain, but very simple today to get us going. So we're going to go. Okay, so you can see down here I've got my cutting board, and I'd like to actually start with one of my favorite champions. We've got Erica. Here, let's swap it over there. You don't need to see my face so much. It's Craft Night, and we've got Erica down here. Now, Erica is one of the first champions that I made my own deck out of. That wasn't sort of like a out of the box thing, and But the nice thing is, in this set, in this case, it's J2, or Welcome to Jalera 2nd Edition. On the back of your champion cards, is the very full art, no text version of the card. So you can see we've got the front and back here. So it's the same art, only without the stuff on it. And that's cool because you could play this as your champion. If it's your regular champion, then other people already know what Erica does. So you don't need to have all this writing and information on here because everybody already knows it. But so to do this decoupage project, hopefully it'll focus in a second. Woohoo! There we go. You just need 2 cards that are the same. And especially when it comes to champions, champion cards are very, very common. So you don't have to really feel guilty about cutting them up because there's plenty more where that came from. In terms of monetary value, they don't really have any because they're so common. In fact, they almost give them away. So don't worry about the monetary value, and don't worry about wasting cards because there's tons of them. We're just enjoying them in a different fashion. That's all. So as we go along, I'll explain what I'm doing, and feel free to hop in there and this is all new to me. Joe usually does all of this sort of aspect of the stream, so it's a little new to me. So please bear with me. Hang on. So all you're really going to need to make this craft, like I said, are 2 cards of your choice. I've got a few different ones selected here. We can maybe do more than one tonight. You need your cards. You need a good cutting surface. So I've got this little cutting board here that I just picked up at the dollar store. So very inexpensive. You're going to want something down there that you can cut on because we're going to be using... Where'd it go? Here it is. Oh, no, that's not it. It doesn't matter. I'm using this. This is essentially an X-Acto knife, but this one happens to be a little bit different. It goes on your finger, as you can see. I'll put it up here. It goes on your finger like this so that you can see. I'm going to take the cover off. It allows you to really get in there with the detailed cuts. And you don't have to have this kind. You could have the more traditional pen-like X-Acto knife. And if you don't have that, buddy, you can use scissors. You just have to be very careful with how you use them. I've also got some just like craft glue. You could use really anything that works for you. This is just tacky glue that I got at a craft store, or actually no, maybe I got this at the dollar store too. I think I did, now that I think about it. And you're going to need something to go in between them. So you can see, for example, in this, in between, I've got a little bit of foam that I also got at the dollar store. And I don't know where the rest of it went. It's disappeared. So we're going to figure that out as we go. That's the one thing I forgot about. But you can also use cardboard if you have some lying around in the recycle bin or something. I used that before in some of my earlier versions of this, and it does work, but the foam, the craft foam, works a little bit better. But that's up to you. So yeah. So we're just going to begin here. I've got 2 cards. You just choose one. Doesn't really matter. And we start cutting. So you guys, if you'd like to follow along with me. I'm just looking into my thing here. I'm trying to figure out how to get my chat to come up. Where's the chat window? Tools, scene, profile, chat. There it goes. There we go. Now I got the chat on the screen. So you guys can chat with me as we go. I don't have Joe here in person to talk to, so, you know, keep me company. But what we're going to do here, in this case, I'm going to cut around Erica, and this is Baihu, the tiger. I'm going to cut around them and then paste it over top the other one. And when we get down to the legs here, it gets a little tricky, but we're gonna figure that out. I've also got a camera between there and here, so I'm gonna have to like bend around and check it out. The first time I did this, it was very difficult to reconcile cutting a card. I was always of the mindset that you keep your cards in good condition. If you need to, you put them in sleeves. You keep them in boxes. You don't throw them out. You don't bend them. You don't do anything. So if this goes against the grain for you, I think that's understandable. But like I said, I assure you these cards are in no short supply, and we're just enjoying them differently. That's all. So let's begin. I'm going to get in here. I think I need to turn the light up a little bit. It's a little bit... might be too bright for you, but I need some light to get in there. I'm going to start at the less important part of the card here, down by the legs. Let's move that light some more. There we go. I'm going to come down here in the legs. And that's it. He's doing it. He's cutting the cards, everybody. Let me get right in there. I put my glasses on. I often use a magnifying lens or some kind of sorry. I do have magnifying glasses that fit over my normal glasses, but I don't have them today, so I'm just going to use one of these guys if I need it later. So... all right, how's everybody doing out there, by the way? We finally, if you live in Ontario, you may have finally gotten some relief in terms of rainfall. It's been raining all day today, and boy, oh boy, it did not hurt my feelings, because it's been hot, hot, hot. All right, so you can see we're getting in there. All right. And this is a nice activity to do. You know, you got a quiet night. You're not sure what to do with yourself. Pull out some cards. Start cutting. Which is how I started it. I saw a video online of a person doing something similar with Pokemon cards. And I thought, you know what? That looks kind of fun. So, there we go. Cool. You can see on the back, if you can see where you've cut. So if you're not sure, you can check the back and see what's gone through, because I think I missed a spot. Oh, no, there we go. Starting to come out. Let's turn this down a little. All right. Yeah, Erica is, like I said, one of my first cards. I really liked that. Or one of my first cards. One of my first champions that I started building with, because she can summon a whole bunch of Baihu tokens, and I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm going to see if I can pop that off. There we go. And you can do it as detailed as you want. If you look, you can see she's holding a flower. Is that going to work? You can see she's holding a flower, and it's got a lot of detail in it. Probably more detail than I can cut with my knife. So do whatever level of detail you feel comfortable with, and that work with the tools that you have. Because once this goes over top of the other one, it's going to look real cool. And like I say, if you roll up to your LGS on Genesis night with a homemade decoupaged champion, I'm not going to say that you'll win more, but you certainly won't win less. Oh, I missed a spot. That's why it won't come out. There we go. Yeah, you got some free time. You throw on some tunes. Grab your cards. I mean, a lot of card collectors, not just Genesis, but I think this goes for pretty much all card games. If you've been collecting long enough, you have lots left over. You know, commons that you don't need. Think of like energy cards or lands in Magic, right? And it can be sometimes a challenge to know what to do with them all. So you put them in a box, and you put them in the garage or in the basement or whatever. I'll try to focus here. And, you know, they sit there for years and years and years, and then you go, ooh, I wonder if my old cards are worth anything. And then you take them out, and you look it up, and they're not worth anything, and then you've just been storing them for 15 or 20 years. You know, maybe there's some exceptions, but typically you always have cards that are like that. So might as well use them up. Might as well have some fun, you know? Like, take the toy out of the package, you know what I'm saying? Let's have some fun here. So I'm going to do Erica's hair here. I'm not super good at some of the finer curves, but we can always adjust that a little bit later. Where did we leave off here? Let's see. There we go. Hey, Zachary. No, this is not the Imperial knife. I do have it, though. I do have the Imperial knife right here, my friend. But that is not the right implement for this job. I'm using this super... If you just joined us, I'm using this cool finger grippy X-Acto knife so that you can get right in there. They do make some others that are more like pens. You could like draw like a pen. I don't have one of those. My daughter has one that she uses for crafts, and one of these days I will swipe it so that I can try it out. But for tonight, we're just going to use a sharp X-Acto knife. I'm going to come around here. We've got this side of Baihu. We'll get rid of a big chunk here. There we go. So yeah, you can see where we're going there. And if you want to, you can. I'm probably going to get in there and do some of this empty space. Oh, sorry, you can't see some of this empty space here. Yeah. So again, you just do whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't want to do all the little tiny details, just don't. This is for you. Who else is this for? Zachary, thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody here. Jeff, as always, good to see you. We've got quite a few people in the chat and watching right here, so this is really cool. Something a little different anyway. Since Joe wasn't going to be around, I thought, this is something. One time, I guess, maybe it was even last summer, Joe wasn't going to be around for a show, and I was going to do this. And I had it all set up and ready to go, and then right at the last minute, my internet connection just kind of like didn't work. It was not enough to do the show, and it was really just in the room where I am. It was really bad Wi-Fi wise, but I happen to know the Wi-Fi was fine in the backyard because I tried it before. And you might remember I did an episode from a hammock, and that was that night. So we were going to do decoupage that night, but it ended up being hammock night. And I'm glad I don't have to do hammock night tonight because it is pouring rain. There we go. Sometimes we just want to try something a little different, Sometimes you go to a new restaurant, or you want to watch a different kind of movie, or you just want to shake up the usual, Now this part's tricky because there is a foot there, but you can't really see it, and that's the art style. It's very cool. Art style by Damien, yeah. And but it is sort of like, where do you make the cuts? So I'm just gonna kind of pretend I know where the feet are. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. I'm gonna come down, and I can sort of see a bit there. So I'm just gonna fudge it a bit. And we can probably adjust it a bit later if we want. There we go. The nice thing about doing arts and crafts is you don't have to be great at it. You could just suck at it, but it doesn't matter because it's fun. So we're going to come down here, and we might have a whole big piece here if I did it right. Let's see. Yeah. I could see how it's... There we go. Get rid of that. So we've kind of got our Baihu here, but I'm going to take the extra step here. I'm going to do this little empty spot here. It'll help with the 3D effect. I'm also going to kind of clean up around the hand there because I didn't want to get too close to the arm, but now it kind of looks like it's not enough. It's not enough. So let's see here. No, I'm not going to do that. If I try to do that, I'm going to mess everything up. So we're just going to do it like this. Does anybody else here like to do crafts? Sometimes we say, when people say arts and crafts, they really just mean crafts. No one is putting a painting in a gallery saying, oh, I just love arts and crafts. You just say art. So, well, that's really trippy. If you look at the back part, I'm cutting it backwards from the design, but we kind of got interesting. But yeah, what do you like to do? I have a couple of I have a couple of button button makers. So when you the kind of buttons that have a pin back and you put a design on the front, and that's something I really enjoy. And I've been able to go with my brother. We've been going to different Comic-Con events and getting a booth and selling our buttons, and we make t-shirts too sometimes, and it's really fun. Now, you don't have to do it in order to sell, but we just thought that would be a fun thing to do. Fun way to go to Comic-Cons, you know? So there we go. There's a little bit around the hair there that I'd like to clean up. Sorry there's a little bit out of focus a lot of the time. It's just the way it is with webcams. Emma loves crafts. Yeah, I bet. All right, I'm gonna, down in here you can see on top of by whose head, and then the starting of the hair there's some empty space, and I think there's a little bit more still in here. I'm going to try to get it. When I actually look at it on the screen, I can see it better because it's big, rather than with my eyes. So, and if there's any part you want to see up close, you just let me know. Oops. Yeah, that's better. I like that. We'll get that off of there. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit more around the arms here, but I don't want to accidentally cut her arm off. So this is just a paintbrush. I'm not using the brush part. I'm just using the end to kind of hold it down because I don't want to accidentally have it come up and then I cut it off, you know. So the end of the brush is just giving me a little extra support. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's better. And then again, if you can't quite see in detail, there's a little bit of space there beside her arm, still showing the back. Now, on this side, I don't know if I'd want to get too much closer because I would risk cutting it off. I'm going to turn it around and use this again to hold it down, because if you don't and it flies up, then you bend the arm and it's a whole thing. Maybe I could just use my fingers here. Maybe you'll see me cut myself live. It's not the worst thing I've done on the internet, I'm sure. There we go. Hey, Erica. Yeah, when you get these sort of appendages, I've learned that, like, you can see it wants to bend sideways, and we don't really want that. So it's these details that are the tricky part. Let's see, I think I got it. Aha, see? Right in there. I gotta try to cut that out. There we go. Excellent. There's a little bit right in there I can get, hopefully. Hold it down with my fingernail. There we go. Much better. Much better. I'm going to clean up some of this bottom here. We've got some of the background still showing through. You can get away with overcutting it a little, as long as it's not too noticeable. That's the stuff. And down in here. That's looking good. All right. I'm going to do up in here a bit some more. It's hard to tell where the background ends and the white tiger begins, but I just want it to look nice for you nice people. There we go. All right. That's looking good. Give me one moment here. I'm pretty sure I know where the... You gotta give me one sec. I gotta find the foam. I have a big sheet of it somewhere. Or maybe I put it over here. Well, I thought it was here, and I'm mistaken. So, we're going to do it a little bit differently. I've got some cardboard here, and we're going to use this instead. And you'll see why the foam is better, but this will be pretty good. So, we've got our cutout here. Now, you can take the time to smooth it out if you want. That's up to you. This is your thing. But what's going to happen is we've got the original card. We're going to put this on top. And we just want it to pop a little bit off from the bottom. Man, I wish this wasn't so out of focus. Maybe that's better. That'll be a bit better. Focus. Anyway, but you'll see in a moment what we're gonna do. I just got a piece of plain old cardboard here. And you found it. Thank you. Found some foam. One of our viewers has my brother, who's down the hall, heard my stream and grabbed me some foam. This is the stuff I was looking for. I don't think this is the one I had. I think it's his, but that's very thoughtful. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna cut down. What we want is to make sure that it stays above the art, but you don't want to make it the same exact shape as the cutout, because then you'll see it. You'll just see the thing. What you want is for it to sort of look like it's leaping out of the card at you. So you want to make sure some of the bigger points have foam under them, but some of the little points like around the hand, you're just not going to be able to do. So you'll see what I mean. I'm going to cut some out here. Whoop. Just a little piece. There we go. My brother is also very crafty. He makes, he does the buttons that we do together, of course, but also he makes miniatures for role-playing games and that sort of thing. The making of the models and painting them and stuff. So there's lots of stuff that you can do out there. There's lots of fun things that you can do. All right, so now this part you're not really meant to see, so you don't have to make it very presentable, because it'll be hidden. I'm just going to cut this into little rectangles, little squares. All right. Now we're going to want to, where did the first one go? There it is. I'm going to put the lid on this before I hurt myself. Unless that's what you wanted to see. I don't know. So you can see on the back, we're going to need to secure this area and up here, but watch out for that hole, and this area. So we can do it right here on this part. Now I got some glue, and in case you're just joining us, I got this glue just at the dollar store. So it's just craft glue. You could use regular white glue, Elmer's glue, whatever you want. Just don't use something that will hurt you like super glue. That is not necessary. All right, so I'm going to begin. I'm going to put a little glue on here. You don't need much, just a little blob. I'm going to put that one here. Right about there. Next up, grab another one, just a little glue, and I'm going to put this one over on this side. Perfect. Can move them around a little. Now down here in the legs, I think I want this to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to cut this one in half. Boop. And it went flying. I'll get it. I'll find it. But I'm going to go put a little glue on there. Doesn't need to be a ton. You don't want too much because it'll squirt everywhere, but kind of like that. And if I can find that piece that just flew off of there. Oh, there it is, I think. I'm going to do the other leg. Okay. Wonderful. I can go right there. And up around the head area, this piece also is probably a little too big, so I'm going to cut it in half, but I'm going to cut it lengthwise, and you'll see why. There we go. So I'm going to fit some on here. Oop. It's a little tricky because I have big hands, but I'm going to stick it on there like that. There we go. And, you know, I got this little piece left. I don't need to do it, but I'm going to put another little piece on the head of Baihu there. I wonder if this is too big. Yeah, I think that's too big. I'm going to cut this one. You just want to make sure that it's sturdy because it doesn't take long for it to get squished. So like in my example here, this one's not too bad because I kept it, you know, pretty good. This one kind of got squished. I didn't quite do it right. I tried a different sort of technique on that one. And I learned my lesson. That might be cardboard too. Yeah, that one's cardboard. So anyway, let's focus here. And in this case, I'm just going to put the glue right on the thing. Just because it's so small, this foam piece. I'll put that on there. And then attach the foam on top. Comme ça. Little francaise for you. Je parle un petit peu de français seulement. Mais je parle tout le français dans ma cœur, mais actuellement, je parle un petit peu de français. So we've got our foam on there. If you have the time to focus, you can let that dry before you do the next step. But I don't think you want to sit around literally waiting for glue to dry. So we're gonna risk it. We're just gonna do it. Here we go. So we've got our cutout. I'm actually going to use some scissors here and just, oh no. I see some spots here that I want to fix. Just to make it a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. Make it look a little bit more like arts than crafts, you know. Right around there. Clean up this edge. That's better. You'll find that because the interior of the paper is white, of course, with ink on top, once you cut it open, you can really see the white if you don't do it right. But c'est la vie. All right. So, you're probably way ahead of me here. Like I said, this is not a complicated craft, but I'm going to put some glue on top of the foam. Not a lot, you don't want a ton, because otherwise it squishes and goes everywhere. Zach, you're going to try it out? I wholeheartedly encourage that. It's very fun. Sometimes I'll sit here at this very desk, I'll put on a baseball game or something, and I'll just sit and do this for a while. It's a nice way to occupy your mind a bit, but it's a little bit mindless, like just a little bit, in that it can be repetitive or whatever, but it is satisfying, so I do recommend it. Alrighty. Oh, jeez. Don't like that spot right there. I'm just going to wear it down with my fingernail. Ah, come on. We got this. That's better. That's better. I feel better about that. Give it one last check here. Make sure everything's cool. Okay. And we're just going to place it on top. Very carefully, though. We don't want to make a mess. You just place it over top of the spot where it would be on the card. Just gently touch it to each of those foam pieces. Keeps the hands busy so you don't finish a bag of chips watching a game. Theoretically, yes, but that doesn't stop me. So, I think I got a little bit of glue coming up on the edges here. So I think I didn't quite place that the way I should have. That's okay, it's still a bit wet, so I can give them a little nudge and kind of wipe that bit of glue away. Although once this particular glue dries, it more or less turns clear, so it won't be as noticeable. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, we've got our first decoupage of the evening. We've got our Erica. You can see our foam pieces in there. And there we go. We've got Erica. Looking good. Now, if you want to, you could you just keep it like this. You could roll up to your LGS with it, use it. You could write on it. You could do whatever you want. You could put glitter on it. If you have the foil version of a card, you could do foil on top, regular on bottom, all foil, whatever you want. Use your imagination. You could also just get a frame at the dollar store and frame it up. I'm not going to do that right now, but I think I will do that sometime in the future. So there we go. We've got our first decoupage. It's a little rough, but you definitely get the idea. And as you practice making the cuts and gluing it on, it gets easier and easier, and you get better and better at it. Now you got to be careful here, because like I said, you couldn't put the foam under, for instance, the hand. So this is going to be rather unsupported. So just be careful if you're tossing this in your bag or something like that. A little too much glue there. I'm going to move the foam. That's the problem. The foam moved. There we go. That's better. And I'm just gonna got a tissue here. I'm just gonna wipe some of that glue from the where we don't want it. There we go. Erica, she rides a tiger. Who is his name? His name is by who? Wait a sec, I already asked who. No, by who is his name? I'm not asking who. Well, when I ask who, I didn't know their name. So if you tell me it's by who, I don't know what you mean. Do you like that song I wrote for you? It's a good song. It's no Sandstorm, but I don't have Sandstorm set up on my setup right now, so you're gonna have to get weird improvised songs. I'm taking musical improv classes, which is why I've been away for a few episodes, and you can see it's been worth it, obviously. Now, what do you think? What time is it? It's about 8:45. Do you think we should do a second one, a little bit different? I want to do one that's a little bit different. So, I'm going to put that one off to the side for now. And rather than doing a champion, I want to show you a different way of doing this. And to do that, I'm going to use Territorial Bala, which is a card from Origins that many of you know. Here, let's focus up. There we go. Territorial Bala, aka Big Ass Bear. It's a card that I like to use because he's a big beefy boy and has a pretty good awareness and is colorless, so you could throw it in any deck. But what we're going to do here is a little bit more like I did with this Jalarian Hound, only not squished. So rather than having the image pop out like Erica here coming out at you, I want to create the effect that the card goes back. And you'll see what I mean. So I've got 2 Territorial Balas. And I'm going to cut just this one. But instead of cutting we're still going to be cutting around the bear. But rather than cutting out the bear and removing it, we're actually going to be removing all of the background from around the Bala. So we're going to try to leave in the chi and the awareness and the health and all that. And cut all of this out. And then place it on the other Territorial Bala so that it goes back. Now, I'm planning to use the very same card. But you don't have to. For example, I have this token here of the Whirlwinds, the Tornado, Rope Tornado. You could cut out a card and stick it over the Rope Tornado. Or some other image that's not even from a card. Maybe there's an image that you like, or some kind of background you want to use. So we're just going to, you know what? I'm going to cut this out and we're going to try it on a couple of different backgrounds and see how it looks. Where did my thing go? Here we go. I hope people are enjoying this. Usually we open cards. That's our thing we do. But I just thought, it'd be nice to try something a little bit different and show you some things that I've been working on. I've been doing this for a little while, and it's fun. So let's give it a go. So I'm just going to start. It's hard to decide whether you start with the straight edges or if you start with the complicated edges, and I think I'm going to start around the complicated edges here. I'm going to go around it and the part that says Territorial Bala. I want to leave the letters on there too. In this card, there's only one little tiny bit on the T that sticks out, so that shouldn't be too difficult. So, I'm going to get in there, cut through. Bob Ross without the afro. I wish I could grow an afro. That is a cool hairstyle, but it is not meant to be for me, unfortunately. sort of rock or crystals here. Come around. I know Bob Ross is kind of a thing now. People have rediscovered Bob Ross. Every time I blend down, you can't see me. But I remember when Bob Ross was on, I used to go to my aunt's house in the summertime. And she would, my aunt would watch me while my mom was at work, and she actually watched a lot of the neighborhood kids as well. So there were lots of kids around, and we had always PBS on because Sesame Street and whatnot. And then Bob Ross would just come on after that. And if we weren't paying attention and we had the TV, still going, Bob Ross would just come on, even though nobody really put it on. But I always remember seeing it because even at the time, it was pretty unusual for a TV show to just take its time and do some cool art. He just was so chill. And he would just paint a picture. And I always remember it being really cool when, he would show, that you would stick the paint on the canvas, and it was just lined. He would just go, and then you look at it, and it looked like fucking trees. How did he do that? Was it just our minds wanted it to be trees? I don't know. This part is really tricky. I'm actually just going to go right across, and I'll sort that part out later. Come around the nose. Anybody watching, do you have a favorite Genesis card, or any card, I guess, that you would consider doing this with? I did Raha. It was one of my first ones because their image was just so striking. I thought it lent itself to the process. So you can pick one that just you think looks good in the process, and then then you can kind of move on to this one's more my favorite card, but it's a little more challenging, right? So for instance, when I was going to do the episode tonight, I was like, I'm going to do Electrical Storm. Because if you watch the show a lot, there was an episode where we opened a bunch of box toppers and we got a zillion foil Electrical Storms, and I thought that would be a good one to do because we got a lot of them. But then I looked at it tonight, and you know what? It didn't really lend itself to being cut out. Not easily, at least. So I went through and found some other ones that I liked instead. Let's move this light here. That's probably easier. There we go. Now there's no shadow. And maybe it'll help keep it in focus. I don't know. Alright, so but yeah, Bob Ross, terrific painter, and you think oh yeah, you just whip those up, but there's a reason why people are still watching it, and part of it is the art, part of it is just his persona, his demeanor is something that we don't see a lot anymore, even in the internet days. You don't really see a lot of Bob Rosses, Bob Ross was in the military? That's true. That is true. Alright, so I've kind of cut around the bear, except for this bit around the mouth that I want to futz around with. There we go. So now I've cut around the bear. I'm going to cut around the straight parts here, but I think I'm going to do these game markers first. Because if you do the big parts first and then you try to do the little fiddly parts, the cardboard will bend on you and it makes it far more difficult. So I recommend, if you're doing it this way, do these parts first, then cut out the big part. You'll thank me. Or you won't. That's fine. I don't need to be thanked. So this is a 7 chi big boy. And luckily in this case, these are fairly geometric and easy to cut around. Cut the awareness. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Excuse me. Ooh, Harlequin. That's a good choice. Harlequin is such an interesting card. It has a very striking image. That's a good choice. Let's focus again here. Here we go. I'm going to try to get around this sort of textured edge here near the near the alliances here. That's not the word I'm looking for. What the hell am I trying to say? There we go. Cut down along here. And now I can do this beginning part. I'm going to come around. Okay. I might have missed some spots. So you can actually look at the back and you can see where you've cut and you can see if there's any obvious breaks that you've missed. I think we're probably okay here. So I'm going to try to pop it out from the back so that the paper, the white paper parts don't stick out as much. Yes. Take this off. All right. Let's pop it out. Oh, I did miss a spot. I thought so. Right up here. There we go. That's more like it. There's always going to be little bits that stick on, probably just because you didn't cut it right. Oh yeah, I see a spot there that I can free it. There we go. Roar. Check it out. Check it out. All right. Get that out of there. Okay. So now that we've cut most of it out, I'm going to go around and just clean up some of the edges a bit. And just like here, you can see I missed a bit. It's tricky to always get the first time around, but that's okay because you can always fix it later. But if you cut too far, well, it's pretty hard to put it back, isn't it? So don't be too worried about that. How many people are taking bets about whether I'm going to cut myself tonight? There we go. Nobody watches the trapeze because they know they're going to make it to the other side. Right? That would be boring. We introduce a little bit of danger to the show. There we go. That's better. Oops. Oh, I think I missed a little bit in there, didn't I? Didn't quite pop out. There we go. Thanks for watching tonight, gang. It means a lot to me because you could do anything with your Tuesday night, and you chose to take at least a part of it to watch this ding-dong doing arts and crafts. So thank you. Okay. All right. Not bad, not bad. So, let me put the lid on here. Okay, so now we have a choice. Like I said, we've got our bear cut out. We've got all the stuff. We've still got all the outline and the stats and all the action and everything. Now we could put it on top of the card that it came from, which is pretty cool, to give it a bit of depth. But if we want to, we could put it in front of, we can put it in front of this. I'll do it so you don't get the glare. You can put it in front of a rope tornado. This is actually this is just an occupancy token, but nevertheless, we've got the tornado. We could, where'd it go? Could just put it on the back of the Genesis card. Although it's kind of hard to read, I suppose. Just for fun tonight, I think I'm going to put it on the whirlwind here. So we've got a bear tornado. What could be more frightening? So, let's see here. I'm going to grab some more foam. I guess you want to see that. Whoop. Lost my bit here. Now, you really want to make sure that all the parts that need support get support. And that's difficult when you get to like these little pieces here. So I'll show you what I've been doing. I'm actually gonna, last time we started with the background, I'm gonna start with the actual card, but just flipped upside down. And I'm gonna try to add foam to all these little pieces before I add larger pieces to the big bits. And that hopefully will do the trick. So we're gonna need to cut some smaller pieces of foam. There's a little one. You just use your judgment. Oh, I need to cut my fingernails. Jeez Louise. Okay. Where'd the glue go? What did I do with it? Here it is. Okie dokie. So this, actually this might be too big already, so I'm going to give that an even further trim. I don't know if you can see that very well. Okay. A bit of glue. Glue for you. Do you glue? No glue for you. Glue no can do. For you, no can glue. Okay, so I got that little bit of foam on there. We're going to do this one for the, the awareness marker. Now, of course, it's a little bit bigger, so I can use a slightly larger piece of foam. Sorry about the focus, gang. It's one of the things about webcams that I haven't quite figured out, you know? Automatic everything, but it can be tricky. Now, I had a little piece of foam fly off of here earlier when I was cutting. It would be perfect for this, but I can't find it, so that's okay. I'll make a fresh one. It flew off somewhere in the room. I don't know where it went. And this one will go over the chi indicator. Geez, that's real small. This is gonna be a tough one. Yeah, that's all right. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. Wherever you happen to be in the world. There we go. So I did sort of these parts here. I'd like to do something about this edge. Because it's going to be tricky. I'm going to use this little piece that I took from the other one as well. There we go. So I'm going to get it on there. I'm going to probably spill some glue, but that's fine. Now we can use the other pieces. We don't have to be quite as dainty. We can put some big anchor points around. So I'm going to cut a piece of this here. A bit of glue. I'm going to put this one out in the corner. Secure that spot. In the other corner. The glue doesn't want to come out. What's going on? Glue. There we go. They heard all that glue for you business and didn't want to participate anymore. I get it. That's fair. Good, good. And I want to put a big one here in the middle. Give it some sturdidity. Is that a word? I'm making that up. Sturdidity. Hey Kim, you're so invested. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. This episode could have gone a number of different ways, not all of them good. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it. There we go. I'm gonna put some across there, and I want to do this corner as well. Nah. I'm gonna cut this a bit more. Make it a bit thinner. There we go. There we go. For people who used to watch Bob Ross back in the day, there were a bunch of shows that were on in the afternoon. Does anybody remember Chef Pasquale? Pasquale, I think. He was an Italian chef, and he would sing opera while he cooked. I always remembered that guy. I always kind of liked it. You know, those times, like this, when I'm doing a craft and I'm talking to you guys, he might just, in those instances, he might just break into song. And he was a trained opera singer, I think. And it was really fun. I'm going to put one in here by the head so the head doesn't fall off or fall down. Ooh, come on, glue. There we go. And I've got one extra piece here, so I'm going to utilize it. Come on. There we go. I'm going to put it right there. Right over the haunted castle sign. All right, so I don't have any on this corner because it's so small. And hopefully the one on the, I think it's the health indicator. Hopefully that will add enough rigidity, if you will, on this side that it won't fall. We're gonna hope. So next up, we don't have to worry so much about lining up the image on this one because I'm going to use a totally different image. So I'm going to put some glue on the top side of these foam pieces, and then we're going to sandwich it all together. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Whoops. There we go. I'm glad everybody seems to be enjoying this. If you did like it, let me know. I mean, for some of you it's obvious, you've already kind of said, but if you're not watching this live and you're enjoying it, you can put a little note in the comments. Let me know. You could say, please, more of this, or you could say, please don't ever do this again. And I might listen to you. At least I'll know if I'm being supportive or defiant when I do it. Glue, glue, glue. Yum, yum, yum. Glue is delicious. Delicious in my belly. Oh, I forgot this one on the side. Oh, that's, that gonna work. What happened there? This piece of foam is not big enough. What happened? Uno momento, por favor. I'm going to take that one right out. See ya, sucker. Ugh, it's sticking to me. This glue is sticking to me somehow. I'll use the glue that's already there. That's better. That's more like it. Okay. Ooh, me and Sophie and Emma are glued to the show. Also, you should get little big forceps to attach little pieces. So much easier, and they are gentle. You're absolutely right. I didn't think of that for today, but I should get some of those. I think that's a great idea. Now, I'm going to take the background I want to use, carefully place this on top. Oop. Gentle. What I don't want is to move the little foam pieces. Let's see if I can flip this around. Haha. Let me back this up a little so you can see. There we go. Just want to touch them, make sure they're all sticking. This little piece here especially is having trouble with. Oh, it wants to come out. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Drama. Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. That's okay. I think we got it. That's better. there we go. We've got our territorial bala in front of a tornado. So now we've got our cool thing. And again, you can just like, I guess you wouldn't play this in your hand and that you wouldn't be able to put it in a sleeve or anything like that. But you could use it as a proxy. And, well, I guess that wouldn't work either. Anyway, it's just a fun thing, you know. Even if you can't play with it, you had fun making it. I had a fun time making it. Check it out. Check out this guy. Raw. We assume that he's like raw, but maybe, oh, you know what? There's a little piece in there sticking out that shouldn't be there. Let me get the knife. Not sure what happened here, if I missed a spot or what. There we go. There we go. And if you see any bits of glue, they're going to turn mostly clear by the time it dries, as is the case with this type of glue, at least. There we go. All right. Kimberly, that's so cool. Thank you. Well, thank you. So there we go. I've had a fun time doing it. I hope you had a fun time watching it. Let me grab, where did she go? We've got, whoop. Come on back. We've also got our Erica from earlier, if you missed it. We've got our full art Erica. We've got our alt background territorial bala. If it'll focus. Focus! Focus! There we go. And there we have it. And you can do this with any of your cards. If you take a little extra time, they're going to look extra good. You know, they also, if you put it in a little frame or something, it's going to look really good, maybe even as a gift for the Genesis lover in your life. So there we have it. Looking good. So I'm just going to switch over here for a moment. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Joe, if you're out there and you're watching, I hope you're having a good night. For everybody who's watching, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. There's a fine line between doing a live stream and talking to yourself in a room by yourself like an idiot. So thank you for helping me determine which side I'm on. I don't have the fancy graphics like Joe usually puts up, but if you want to reach us, we are available in a number of ways. You can reach us at hello@imperialpulls.com. That's email, of course. That's probably the most direct way to reach us. If you have a question or a comment, or you want to be a sponsor or something, maybe one day, you can reach us hello@imperialpulls.com. We're also available on Discord, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram. I'm probably missing one there, but we're on many of the socials. Always at Imperial Pulls, all one word. So you can find us on there. And of course, you can always find us here on YouTube. We do streams every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's not usually craft related, but you know, this time it is. And we also do a lot of shorts from time to time when we have time to do it. So thank you so much for watching. And have a great Tuesday night. Don't forget to let your craft flag fly. That was supposed to be really cool, but then I didn't say it right. Let your craft flag fly. That's what I meant to say. Good night, everybody.